On February 26, 1991, in the evening, in the middle of the desert, an American company with 12 M1 Abrams tanks emerged from a sandstorm to take on an entire Iraqi armored division. Despite the fact that the Americans were vastly outnumbered, the outdated T-72 manufactured by the Soviet Union could not compete. Without even one M1 Abrams being harmed, U.S. tanks destroyed 28 enemy tanks, 16 trucks, and 30 armored utility vehicles in just over 30 minutes. Known as the Whispering Death for its overwhelming firepower and swift, silent movements, they have one Abrams that debuted during Operation Desert Storm. But no force on Earth could contain its rampaging trail of destruction. The Cold War had just begun, and the Western nations were competing with the Soviet Union to develop the most advanced weaponry ever. Tanks were no exception, with millions of dollars being invested on both sides of the Iron Curtain in cutting-edge armored fighting vehicle technology. And Western officials were struggling with the fact that the new Soviet T-62 and 150mm smoothbore cannons posed a serious threat to the M60 and Leopard tanks. If they didn't react to the threat immediately, their armored divisions would soon be outclassed. In response to the Soviet invasion, the United States and West Germany joined forces to create the MBT-70, an ambitious main battle tank project that was expected to outperform the Soviet vehicles. The design incorporated so many new features that by 1969, the cost of development had quadrupled, forcing the programs to be canceled. The U.S. launched the XM-803 project in an effort to recover some of the advancements made by the MBT-70 and put them into a more affordable and lightweight tank because they were unwilling to give up on the pursuit of a modern main battle tank. Early tests revealed that the XM-803 prototypes did not outperform the more outdated M60, leading to the cancellation of the project. However, the Army was permitted to use the funds from the abandoned project to create a new main battle tank. A new project began in 1973. In order to counter the serious threat posed by the T-62 and its 115mm cannon while still being quick and maneuverable, the new program was designed to provide strong armor. Chrysler Defense and General Motors submitted designs for the new tank, and both companies provided excellent prototypes to the Army. The Defense Department granted a $20 billion development contract to Chrysler, whose concept already contained turbine propulsion, on November 12, 1976. A total of 3,273 M1 Abrams tanks were built between 1979 and 1985 after production began in 1978. The M1 Abrams is a powerful engineering marvel. Heavy and destructive, the M1 weighs around 70 tons, which is equivalent to 10 African elephants. The mechanical monster is powered by a Honeywell ATG 1500 gas turbine engine, which is also extremely powerful and allows the heavy tank to accelerate from 0 to 20 miles per hour in under 6 seconds. It was a really impressive feat to see 70 tons of metal reach 45 miles per hour in less than 10 seconds, and seeing a main battle tank sprint across a battlefield or slide like a race car is still terrifying to witness. The Abrams' weight can be attributed to its thick and resilient armor. The M1 was one of the first contemporary tanks to include Chabam armor, a composite shield made of ceramic tiles that was attached to a backing plate and numerous elastic layers inside a metal framework. The exact fabrication process for the shielding is still a closely guarded secret. Aside from basic armor, certain anomalies are covered by additional defenses like reinforced armor plates or Tusk explosive reactive armor kits, making the tank one of the most survivable in the world. The Beast, as it is sometimes known, is equipped with a powerful 120mm main gun that can hit targets more than 2,500 meters away, 3-hole non-contact machine guns, a 50 caliber Browning gun, and 2 and M240s. In order to attain the highest level of precision, it is controlled by a cutting-edge fire control system that may change firing settings in response to gun inclination to rain, wind, and weather conditions. The Abrams tank's main gun can fire a variety of rounds, including depleted uranium shells, which enable it to completely destroy any armored vehicle that dared engage in close combat. Additionally, the M1 is built to defend its crew against chemical and biological assaults. All of the air within the vehicle is filtered through a special vent, which keeps hazardous contaminants away from the team. The M1 is known as the Whispering Death because of its astounding speed, unrestrained firepower, and quiet engine operation. At the same time, it developed a reputation for being exceedingly inefficient in terms of fuel efficiency. The tank was equipped with a fuel reservoir of more than 500 gallons, allowing it to go close to 300 miles in order to make up for the low miles per gallon ratio. And if those features weren't enough, the M1 Abrams has undergone a number of improvements over the years, making it an even more lethal and adaptable tank that can perform a variety of roles in a conflict. The M1, which has served as the foundation of the U.S. Armed Services for the past 40 years, has undergone several upgrades and variants to accommodate nearly every possible situation. We have the M1 Abrams, whose production started in 1985 and continued to 1992. It came with a pressurized NBC system, rear bustle rack for improved storage of supplies, redesigned blow-off panels, and a powerful M256 120mm smoothbore cannon. Currently, the U.S. has the M1A2 main battle tank, whose standard production commenced in 1992 and which went into service in 1993. The M1A2 gives the tank commander a separate thermal sight and the ability to shoot at 2 targets simultaneously without having to acquire them one at a time. Additionally, it included components of second-generation depleted uranium armor. So, how does it stack up against Russian T-90 and the Russian anti-tank systems? And if the U.S. made the decision to send M1 Abrams to the Ukrainian forces, will it help them to change the tide of war? The short answer is yes. It absolutely will. On February 26, 1991, during the Battle of Abu Sayyaf, 12 M1 Abrams faced off against an entire roughly armored division. Rushing at a quick speed through the desert and engaging the T-72 enemy tanks with lethal accuracy, the Abrams took care of the much larger force in just half an hour. Without suffering a single casualty, the American Armored Company destroyed dozens of Iraqi tanks and armored vehicles, inflicting severe casualties and forcing the enemy to rout in fear. The English became a nightmare for Iraqis as they could not seem to hurt the American vehicle as hard as they tried. One Abrams even survived without much damage after being shot with 18 RPGs. During the first phase of Operation Desert Storm, only 9 M1 Abrams were destroyed by the enemy. 7 of them were struck by friendly fire from other Abrams, while the remaining 3 M1s were disabled by American troops for tactical purposes. Ironically, the only weapon capable of obliterating M1 Abrams during the Gulf War was another M1 Abrams and some unfortunate human error. With time, and after much frustration, the Iraqi forces devised elaborate schemes to destroy the mighty U.S. tanks, including wiring dozens of 150mm rounds to ground lines to destroy the M1s as they drove over the traps. Still, throughout the Gulf War, only 23 M1 Abrams were destroyed. The vehicle is credited with neutralizing over 2,000 Iraqi tanks and several thousand other armored cars, making it the most successful modern tank. But what about anti-tank systems like the Javelin, NLAW, or the Russian anti-tank system, Kornet? How well is it protected against it? The short answer is no. Just like other tanks, the M1 Abrams will get destroyed with advanced anti-tank systems. But that's why crew training and combined OPS warfare is so important. The U.S. Army employs fire and move-back tactics. The whole point of this tactic is a tank round moving faster than an incoming missile. So by the time Abrams fires and moves back, an incoming missile is gonna completely miss them. And if you have a platoon of 4 Abrams coordinating with each other correctly, you've just taken out 4 enemy tanks. Now with the U.S. showing off its next-generation tank, the Abrams X, which addresses most of the issues faced by the M1 Abrams, and it is designed for modern and next-generation combat. So, what do you guys think? Is the M1 Abrams the best tank in the world? Can it help Ukraine in its fight against Russia? Tell us in the comments below. Till then, see you again.